Okay, good evening, everybody. Hill Regional Career High School. I am your very proud principal, Mr. Sean True. Here at Career High School, we're preparing students to be thoughtful, productive, and contributing members of their communities. So I'd like to introduce the rest of our administrative team. Monica?
Hello, everyone. My name is Monica Joyner. I am a new assistant principal at Career High School. And although I am new this year, I am not new to Career. I spent my first 14 years in New Haven at Career. So this is a homecoming for me, and I am happy to be back. And I'm looking forward to eventually meeting you all, be it virtually or in person. And I'm looking forward to a wonderful year.
And hi, everybody. I'm Steve Ciarcia. Probably most of you will know me because I've been here for 8 years. The freshman classes, which I'll be taking on this year, and a portion of the 11th grade. But we're an administrator team that will take on the responsibility of all kids. So really happy to hear from you all tonight. And let's get going, I guess. All right.
As we go through, I just kind of want to point out to everyone, we're going to do question and answers at the end. However, if you notice at the bottom of your screen, it says Q&A. You can type in questions under Q&A. And as we go through, any questions that I can respond to, I can type a written response in there, or those are the questions we'll pull from at the end. So we're not going to stop in the middle or during the presentation to respond to questions, but we will absolutely get to them at the end. And hopefully we will have answered your questions by the time we get through the presentation.
Thank you. So our vision of a graduate here at Career High School, our students who graduate Hill Regional Career High School will be able to access and analyze a variety of sources of information, communicate clearly and listen actively, fulfill his or her own civic duty, and be a leader within his or her community. They'll be able to think critically and solve problems, leverage technology and supportive skills, be morally, ethically, and socially aware, be resilient and persistent, and develop career readiness skills through authentic experiences while here at Career High School. We also want to be sure to ensure that all children, all students reach his or her full potential, which also requires a team effort. Okay, within the team effort, the student is certainly the center of it, but we can't do it alone. They can't do it alone. They certainly need a team approach, which includes counselors, which then branch into parent liaisons, social workers, OTC, CCR coordinators, school nurse, school psychologists, truancy officers, school-based clinic, along with you, parents, the teachers, the community partners, which may include Clifford Beers, Higher Heights, local college and universities, and the RISE network, and of course, our team of administrators. But really, in order to support all teaching and learning for students, we must incorporate all of these very, very critical components here. Our next slide here is the instructional core. So at the center of instructional core is good fundamental sound instruction in teaching and learning, which would include or would look like engaged students, exceptional teaching from our wonderful staff, and a quality content to ensure that teaching and learning is taking place. Our career school improvement plan strategic objectives include building academic standards of student practice to develop the foundational skills that lead to college, career, and life readiness, and also build student and social emotional skills school-wide in order to foster student independence and maintain a positive learning environment throughout their time here at Career High School. These are some important dates here. Certainly they're subject to change, but as they are a very fluid situation, as you are well aware during these times. Here we have Meet the Teacher Night designated for September 30th. And as these dates continue to evolve, or if they do change, we'll certainly be able to reach out and communicate those dates to you via a number of ways in which we will later on discuss during our presentation this evening. So Steve?
You're on mute.
Good. Yeah, I had to slide everybody off to the side for a minute. All right. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the RISE network partnership we have. So one of the things that we look at is as kids are transgressing into from 8th grade into 9th grade, one of the models that's out there is that there's a team approach. There's the what we call grade level teams. So we've created a grade level team for our 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade teachers to work together to really focus at the center of it as students. So yes, we do, the curriculum is important, but it starts with the kids, right? And so we have different types of teams. We have an on-track data team. We have one-on-one coaching opportunities where each and every student will have a one-on-one conversation, and you'll see the dates as they come up to talk about where they're at, not just academically, but also behaviorally and through attendance. We have summer transition programs, and this past year we had some virtual ones for 2 weeks, 2 separate weeks, to help the integration of 8th graders into the 9th grade. We have some college and career supports, and that doesn't just start in the senior year or junior year, but it starts as early as 9th grade. And then we have some educator-inspired innovations as teachers start to think of different kinds of things that they want to do. If they present this to the partnership, they'll fund it. And so it's been a really good partnership for the last several years. All right. So recognizing our students, there's different components that we're going to go talk about. And the one right here is called on-track status. What is on-track status? Well, career on-track definition is not just about having a kid get to the next grade or to pass their classes. We believe we look at the behavior, the attendance, and the course grades. And what we're aiming for, where our minimum bar is to have every kid with 0 suspensions, to have kids with the attendance record of at least 93% attendance or better. And then course grades, we have 8 courses. We want at least 7 passing, and one of them must be English language. So you can see the color codes down below. You have the off track, almost on track with some courses with attendance concerns, and then totally on track. And what we do is we have a tracking tool that we use for the teachers as we look in these teams to try to figure out where our kids are. And as they, what the hope is to progress every kid up into the solid green. So a little bit more about the grade level teams. You can see that they meet once a week. And like I say, we analyze the data that's out there about the kids, and goes beyond just of the academics. You can see we identify strengths in connecting in the building. We identify students in need of additional support. We have this year, right now, because we're going to be remote, every day we're going to have an advisory period. And periodically, we're going to change some of those advisory periods to be academic advisories so that a student could meet in small groups or with their teacher one-on-one during that period of time to try to have some questions that they want to answer to try to boost themselves up in their subject area. So the advisory will be specifically geared toward just academics and not the small groups that they have. Another piece of the advisory is that the kids have an opportunity to be with the same teacher every day and the same team of kids to work through the this time, right? And also us going back to hybrid or to full year. So we also have some professional learning communities with the teachers. So that same group of teachers that are in the grade level team, they will also have some professional learning around what they would need specifically with that grade level, or and to help foster growth within themselves, which will then carry into the classroom. So the one-on-one conferences I was just talking about, the on-track conferences, you could see that when we're going to have for 9th grade will be 1st, 2nd, and 3rd quarter. 10th, 11th, and 12th we'll have at least 2 quarters. All the students will participate. It's going to be centered around the students, as I said earlier. It's called a bag report because it's about behavior, attendance, and grades. And again, they would sit down, and so it's a conversation between those two, the adult and the student, so that when they walk out of that meeting, they know not only just about their grades and where they're at, but they also know we get a little bit about what their goals are and help them develop a goal for the rest of the quarter or for the year. Now we're on to honor roll. So with honor roll, these are the different types of levels of honor roll for our school. So if you want high honors with distinction, you need to have all A's. High honors you would get and be 1B plus, and the rest are above. Honors is a 1B minus, and the rest are above. And then honorable mention would be A's and B's with only a 1C. And these are done quarterly, and we'll have quarterly celebrations. Then sometimes, you know what, I'm not on a roll, but I'm on a roll. And what does that mean? You know, recognizing and celebrating students who show growth, right? And so, you know, maybe you didn't quite hit honor roll, but you're making some really great strides. And so with that, we celebrate that as well.
So the day, some of the things that you're concerned about, what is remote learning gonna look like? What does my day look like? So the school day will be 7:45 until 2:15 p.m. Students will be expected to be logged in to their classes during this time frame. So for everyone who is 10th grade and higher, you know that your alternating block schedule means that you have A days and B days. So you just alternate A day, B day, A day, B day, A day, B day, so forth and so on. On each of the days, there will be one 30-minute advisory / attendance period at the beginning that Mr. Ciarcia just referenced. During that time period, there will be what we call social emotional learning activities. There will be things to get you started for the day, kind of take a temperature check to see how you're feeling. What is it that you need? Are you stressed? Are you feeling easy? What do you need to get you started and get you ready for learning, for engaging in learning for the day? And this is also the class period, the time period where the attendance for the school for the day will be taken. That will happen during that 30-minute block, which will be 7:45 to 8:15. Then after that, there will be 4 80-minute classes every day. So on an A day, you have 4 classes. On a B day, you have 4 classes. Therefore, there are 8 classes that you have. So you have the potential to get 8 credits per year. On Wednesdays is slightly different. Every Wednesday will be a half day for students because that lends time for professional development and planning for the teachers. We are in unprecedented times right now, and there's a lot of learning that needs to happen, even on behalf of on the side of the educators, to become more apprised of the technological things that are out there and available for them to enhance their instruction and enhance your learning. So during that time frame, after you guys are dismissed, teachers and administrators and everyone else on staff will be engaging in professional development and planning to make sure that we have the best learning available for you. And the reason we have this particular schedule is we have to understand that it's likely that during this school year, we will transition from full remote, which is where we are now for the first 10 weeks of school, eventually to hybrid learning, which will be partially remote and partially in school, to full in-school learning. So that transition, as it occurs, this will still be the schedule. The remote schedule, which you can see, but you may not be able to see quite clearly, this schedule is on the website so that you will see exactly what time you need to be logged into each of your classes. There's essentially a 5-minute break in between each class, except for the very first one. But in that very first one, your teacher may decide to give you a couple of minutes at the end of class in order to get prepared for your next one. So there is a 5-minute break with lunch at the same time across the board for everyone within your schedule. So again, you can find this schedule on the school website, and once you get your actual class schedules, those start times should also be on your class schedule. Now, as I just mentioned earlier, we may transition from full remote to a hybrid learning model. And what that hybrid learning model would mean is that the school would be split. A survey will come out, because the survey did come out already because we were preparing for the possibility of hybrid. It's just that the Board of Education chose remote, and that's what they opted to do. Could we move the cursor off the screen, please? So the hybrid cohorts, you would be split in half. If parents elect to have their students engage in the hybrid, then any student whose last names begin with A through L would be in cohort 1. And those students would be in school in front of your teachers Monday and Tuesday, and you would be on full remote Wednesday through Friday. Cohort 2 would be last names beginning with M through Z, and you'd have the opposite schedule. You'd be remote Monday through Wednesday and in school on Thursday and Friday. So everybody's on remote on Wednesdays, but you guys get 2 days each in school, Monday and Tuesday for cohort 1, Thursday and Friday for cohort 2. Again, this is not our schedule right now, but this is something to just be thinking about as we start to transition into, if we transition into cohort. And also keep in mind, you'll see that there's an asterisk there. And the reason for that is, although we've made this plan right now, it could be that because parents have the right to opt in or opt out of hybrid, it could be that 230 kids A through L have opted in, while only 80 kids M through Z have opted in. If that's the case, we would need to adjust to make it more equitable across the board. Now, the other way that we recognize students is for attendance. In this remote world that we're in right now, students are expected to log into their advisory attendance block at 7:45 a.m. As I said, that's when attendance for the school day will be taken. That's the attendance that's reported to the state. After that, when you log into each of your classes, teachers are also taking attendance for each one of your classes. So you're expected to log in and be present and engage in the learning for each one of your classes. Attendance will be taken the same way it is if you were walking in the building and you were going from room 220 to room 302. You would have to be there for attendance. Same thing happens, whether it's remote, hybrid, or in person. You need to be in your class and ready to learn each day in each period. Now, attendance matters. In this space, you don't have to worry about things like missing the bus. You don't have to worry about, there's a bunch of stuff you don't have to worry about because you don't have to leave your house to get to school. You go from one room to the next, or you could be in the same room and just open up your laptop. That being the case, just kind of not too much of an excuse for missing school. So we expect that everybody is going to be in the level of satisfactory attendance, meaning that you miss less than 5% of school, which turns out to be an average of 4 days per semester. If you're at risk, that means you've missed 5 to 9 days per semester, and chronically absent means you've missed 17 or more school days per year. We're hoping to not have anybody in either of those second two categories. Now, in the event, because things do happen, people do get sick, stuff happens, you may have doctor's appointments, anything. In the event that there's a reason for you to not be in class or in school, parents are still responsible for letting the school know. So we would call the school and let them know that my child is going to be absent from online learning today. So that counts as an absence. Depending on what it is, we'll determine whether it's an excused absence or unexcused. Sick notes, the same as they were before, they need to be submitted to the school. And in this case, it could be via email. And we'll put that information on the website as well in terms of how to submit sick notes. So for example, if you have a young person who has a doctor's appointment at 10:30, then that would mean they can be in school from 7:45 until that time, but by 10 o'clock or so, they may need to leave, go to their doctor's appointment and come back. You just need to let us know. Let the teacher know whose class they're gonna miss, that they're gonna be gone because of an appointment. And then when you get a doctor's note from that appointment, just have your doctor say that they've treated this child for this particular period. Get the note, send it to the school, like we said, via email. We're going to work out that process and post everything on the website. And then your child comes and logs back in for the rest of their classes. So it'll be the same type of thing as if your child was in school and you took them, came in, picked them up, took them to the dentist and brought them back. Same process. Now, graduation requirements. As I mentioned, you can get 8 credits per year. 8 credits over 4 years. That means there's a possibility of 32 credits. However, to graduate, you only need 29 of those credits. So by the time you get to your senior year, you may be able to take a little bit of a break and not take as many classes. So in the 9th grade year is when you're gonna have kind of their prerequisite classes for everything that happens beyond that. So everything that you take in 9th grade year is preparing you to select either business and technology or health and science as your major, as the trajectory that you want to move on. Then you also have a senior capstone project. Every senior has to complete this capstone project. It is 1 credit. It is comprised of 2 parts. A half a credit comes from a course that you will take over the course of a semester, which is 2 marking periods. And the other half of the credit is your actual presentation. That's the senior capstone. Community service. In order to graduate from New Haven Public Schools, you need 20 hours of community service for graduation. If you are intending on being a New Haven Promise Scholar and getting a New Haven Promise Scholarship, then you need to have at least 40 hours of community service. There are so many opportunities and so much need for young people to be engaged in community service during this time that we're in, so it shouldn't be hard for you to get those credits. And if you're gonna go for New Haven Promise, 40 hours, that's 10 credits per year. I know a lot of people, a lot of young people who do 10 hours of community service in a month. So it shouldn't be too hard to do 10 hours for the year. And there is a form that you need to fill out to have whoever you do the service with. They would just fill out that form and verify that you've done those community service hours. That's submitted to your counselors and they keep that record. And like I tell everyone, make sure you keep a copy of everything for yourself as well, just in case. Again, those 29 credits, the way you get them, there are 4 credits. You need 4 credits in both English and math, 3 credits in science and 3 credits in social studies, 2 world language and electives. 3 credits is highly recommended for any student who intends to go to college because a lot of colleges require 3 world language credits. So if you start thinking about where you want to go to college, you might want to look into it and see, well, I need to know how many world language credits they require so I can make sure I get them now. You also need 1 computer applications, 1 Latin, 1 personal finance, the capstone that we talked about, and an arts class. In your particular thematic areas for business and technology, you need 4 credits in business and tech, and you need 3 credits plus an additional Latin credit under health and science. And for the class of 2021, and beyond, so everyone from this point forward, you need 1 health credit and 1 physical education credit. Now, schedule changes. Currently, once school starts on Thursday, the only people who will receive schedule changes from this coming Thursday up until next Friday are those students who have somehow a class is missing in your schedule. If a class on your schedule is one that you've already taken and passed it already, or if a class is scheduled more than once. Those are the people who will receive schedule changes between the 3rd and the 11th. Now, you can submit a schedule change request during that time, but the schedule change itself probably won't happen until after the 11th, because they do have to make sure that those 3 issues we just talked about are addressed first, because those are the most important ones. The schedule change form will be posted on the school website under the school counselor tab. So anything about schedules will be posted under the counselor tab. And just to let you know, in terms of schedules, you can go ahead. In terms of schedule, it says click here for the schedule change form. We'll put this link because you don't have the PowerPoint right now. But again, these links will be put on the website. And in order to get your schedule change happen as quickly as possible, you want to make sure that your change request goes to the correct counselor. So if you are a freshman, your counselor is Ms. Harrell. If you are a sophomore whose last name begins with H through O, your counselor is also Ms. Harrell. For juniors and seniors whose last names begin with A through L, you're with Ms. Huckabee. And sophomores A through G are also with Ms. Huckabee. And Mr. Pichette takes care of juniors and seniors, last name M through Z, and sophomores H through Z must be, because you got a couple missing, so we need to fix that. And there are other questions. If you have other questions about schedules, that link will also be posted, because there may be some things that you ask about that we don't particularly address. Okay. You
Great,
can leave.
thanks, Monica, and thanks.
Hold on one quick second. The one thing I wanted to say is schedules themselves. You may be wondering, how do I get my child's schedule? Your child's schedule is in PowerSchool. So everyone that has their PowerSchool access, you can go on PowerSchool and you can see your schedule. Plenty of young people have been reaching out to their counselors already over the last couple of weeks, asking them about their schedules and asking them about schedule changes early. So some of the things have been taken care of already. If you do not know your PowerSchool access, then that's something else that we need to put on the website so that you know who to contact to get PowerSchool access. And in terms of your classes, all the classes are going to meet through Google Meet, and teachers will be reaching out, sending emails out to students, to your nhps.net account. We'll be sending emails out to invite you to their classes. In addition, there will also be a location on the website that has a spreadsheet of all the teachers, all their classes, and the class codes. So if for some reason you missed the email, you can go on that sheet and check it out and get the class code for your class based on what your schedule says. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Thanks. That's great information. Thanks, Monica and Steve, for your insight here. So what is it like to be a Panther? Well, we use the acronym PRIDE, the P standing for preparedness, be ready to learn at all times. Respect, treat yourself and others the way you want to be treated. Integrity, exercise honesty and character in everything you do. The D stands for discipline, maintain focus, motivation, and self-control at all times. And excellence, of course, strive to be your best in everything you do. That's the Panther way. Our next slide is bullying. Bullying definition, it's overt acts of one or more students committed more than once against any student or students with the intention to ridicule, humiliate, or intimidate. That's just a no-no here. And certainly the New Haven Public Schools require students, staff, and or parents to report all cases of bullying and harassment immediately. This includes cyberbullying via social media and other forms. So we strictly adhere to policies and procedures set forth by the New Haven Board of Education. Our technology use. So tomorrow here at Career High School in the back of the auditorium, we will be doing our 9th and 10th grade distribution of devices. So we will be utilizing the back of the auditorium entrance outside. You'll gain access to the parking lot via Orchard and Legion Avenue. You'll pull in. We pull up and we adhere to the social distancing guidelines. There will be cones set forth there for your view. We ask if, in order to receive a new laptop, you simply return your old Chromebook in exchange. It's also, if you don't have any type of electronic device, you're certainly welcome to come to the school. And at that point, you'll follow the directions from our technology staff as far as getting yourself equipped and ready to go for our remote learning. Parental engagement and through the PTSO. This is very, very important. We have a wonderful parent liaison, Ms. Christy Lynn Benton. The mission of our PTO here, as you can see, is to work collaboratively with the school community to provide a quality education for our children through increased parental participation. Productive communication is certainly vital during these times, and also assisting with fostering a warm, welcoming environment. So there you see her contact information. We also have a Facebook website, but very, very important to be able to access and log on to our school website for the most updated information, and that's careerhighschool.org. So that is a very important piece to be able to check regularly to ensure that you're being well informed. Along that, we also ask our parent liaison to send parent links and so on and so forth. So the key here, not only during remote learning, but through all learning, is to keep the communication line open. So it's really, really important that you utilize this, and we utilize this collaboratively and together. And again, there is a slide to our PTSO person, our lead here. So with that, there are different options how to get involved and certainly how to contact her. And it's also via our website here at careerhighschool.org. There's a drop-down menu that also specifies information through the PTSO. Required orientation forms. Again, I point to the direction of our website at careerhighschool.org. It's also affiliated with the regular orientation information slide through the NHPS website. There you'll watch a wonderful video by our superintendent, Dr. Tracy. From there, you click on the Hill Regional Career High School site. You'll see a short intro clip from myself. And online, there are the mandatory forms that must be filled out. If you choose to download and complete those forms, you can also send those in via the school. I think at this point, you'd have to mail those forms in, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory. We hope in order to be able to fill those necessary forms out and submit. But the key component is that they are mandatory. We ask you please to do your very best to complete these forms. It helps us keep ourselves organized, helps distribute information to you by allowing us to have the most updated information so that we can truly have a collaboration and an effort to assist one another during this process throughout the school year. So now we will open up to questions. There's a site here, careerhighschool.org, that you can submit any questions that maybe we have not answered today or this evening, or if you think of something later on. But we'll certainly open the floor up now, and we'll try to address these, get some answers to your questions at this time.
So I've been answering some questions under the Q&A, and I'll just go back to some of them. One question that I was just about to answer is, are students required to have their cameras turned on? And the answer to that question is no, students are not required to have their cameras on, but they are encouraged to have their cameras turned on. However, if you don't want your child, or your child just feels like they're having a bad hair day and they don't want to be on camera, they can put a picture on, they can just turn their screen off, just turn their video off. So no, they're not required to have their cameras turned on. But just like anything else, it's kind of, difficult being in this space of not being able to see your friends. If your camera's on, then everybody can see everybody. So it's requested, but not required. Can Chromebooks still be used, or do we have to have a laptop? If your child is very much familiar with the Chromebook and would prefer to keep the Chromebook to use, you can absolutely do that. However, if you do desire to get a laptop instead of the Chromebook and you have a Chromebook, you have to turn that in. You have to turn the Chromebook in before you can get a laptop. Does the medical form need to be signed by my child's medical doctor? I have not seen the medical form, so I don't, if there's a line there that says doctor's signature, then the answer is yes. I have not seen the form, honestly, so I can't adequately answer that question. Do either of you guys know the answer to that question?
That I do not. I haven't personally seen the form as well, but if it does state a medical professional signature on that, I would certainly err on the side of caution and do your very best to get that signature. And I know it's difficult, certainly during these times, certainly in times of remote, but I would do your very best to do that, and then we'll kind of take it case by case if need be, and we'll try to support you on that.
Yes, because like the 10th grade, it's in particular, they have to have a updated
Physical
form physical on file. So that would be something we'll be looking for, especially when we come back into hybrid.
Couple other questions about the login, the passwords, the PowerSchool ID. If your child is coming to Career High School from another New Haven school, their PowerSchool login and ID is the exact same. It follows them from pre-K up through 12th grade. So it's the same if they're coming from another New Haven school. If your child is coming from out of district, then you can reach out to the school counselors and they will help you. They will get your child's Power School login information. And again, if you go on the school website, there's a school counselor tab that will have each of their names, which grades they service, like we just showed you, and their contact emails. Another question came up about attendance. Will attendance count if the students are present in 2 classes? So the rule, the state policy has always been that for attendance for the day, a child has to be in school before, I think, like 10:45 for it to count for the day. Like there's a certain number of hours you have to be in the school. So it's gonna still follow what the state policy is, but I think we would have to just check to see if they've made any updates to it because of the remote learning. Now, that doesn't mean that you still wouldn't be absent from a particular class. I mean, if you were there for 2 classes, you will have still missed 2 classes. So the attendance for the day, I think, would probably count, but you still need to get the work done and check in with your teachers for the classes that were missed. Let's see if there's anything else that's popped up.
Another one I have here, Monica, is how is New Haven Public Schools taking measures to provide internet for families that don't have access? Well, I know throughout the city, they've set up different antenna or hotspots, if you will, in neighborhoods throughout the cities to address that very concern. So we're hoping that services and things like that have been increased to help enhance internet access for everybody.
And there are, like, they've put these things up on the sides of schools mostly that spread out like a net over the neighborhoods for people to have internet access. And I'm not sure if at one point Comcast and some other companies were giving free access to families. I don't know if that's still going on. Is the community service mandatory? Yes. It is a graduation requirement of New Haven Public Schools. 20 hours for just for graduation, 40 hours if you are seeking the New Haven Promise Scholarship. So Ms. Miller, your question, I would say you need to talk to one of the school counselors about that. I don't want to give you the wrong information. That would definitely be a school counselor question. And what about AP classes? What is the question about AP classes? Are they getting textbooks tomorrow as well, or only computers? It's only laptop distribution tomorrow is the only thing that's happening then. Most teachers have gone to eBooks, and most people are using online resources for their classes. There are a few who are anticipating using textbooks, but just like during the normal school year, textbooks are not distributed until all of the classes are scheduled in and everything like that is done. So it would be a couple of weeks before actual textbooks went out anyway. And if that is the case, then there would be something put on the website, and Ms. Beaton would probably send out a parent link to parents to let them know that textbooks are going to be distributed. Is there a community service form? As I stated earlier, there is a form that has to be filled out to verify that you've done community service. Where do they go for community service? Anywhere in the community. That's not something that we dictate to people. There are a number of organizations out there where that offer opportunities for kids to do community service. Some people do through their churches. Some people, there are like youth centers around. Some people, I mean, there's so many different things, so many different ways. It's just I don't know if there's a person at this school, because as you know, I'm new to the school also. I don't know if there's a person at this school that has maybe a list of options for people to seek out for community service. So that can't answer that question. And someone says New Haven Promise doesn't allow certain community services. You should check with them. There's a list in the guidance suite. Thank you. Let me go back under Q&A, see if there. Oh, how can my child get into AP classes? That's a question for the counselor. You would have to reach out to them. I'm sure there are prerequisites for the AP classes. And what happens usually from year to year is that teachers make recommendations for where students would go for the next year. And students usually talk to the counselors about what classes they want to take for the next year. So that would be one of the ways, well, two of the ways that that happens. How can we return our textbooks from last year? That's a great question.
You can, I know there's, you can bring them tomorrow. If you're picking up a device, you just let the person know who's giving the device to you, your name and such, and then we'll keep record of that.
Should there be a parent present for the laptop distribution tomorrow? I don't know that that's necessary. I don't think that's necessary because, you know, we've got high school kids, high school young people, so I'm not sure that that's necessary.
And then the AP thing, just to go back to it for a second, there is, we do have what's called pre-AP. So many of the ninth graders come in, they want to take the classes, and there's a pre-AP course. It's to help get kids prepared and prepped for the upcoming courses as they progress through our school. So most of the AP classes are junior, senior. There may be the occasional sophomore taking them. And so we do have pre-AP courses for ninth graders.
And I just want to point out, one of the parents has asked about our community service requirements being adjusted, as many students have lost so much time where they're not able to do community service since March up until who knows when this ends. And that community service accessibility has become extremely difficult. It is not adequate to say there are many different ways to do community service during this pandemic. It is much more difficult for students. So I apologize if my statement was, it seems like that may have bothered you. You're right. I do not know the answer. I only know that there are many different ways to do community service. I do not know how that has adjusted during this pandemic. I don't know if the district is going to make a different decision or an adjustment to the community service hours, but I will absolutely, I don't think that's a question that has come up for some people. So I will send that question to our assistant superintendents to see if we can get a response for that. And if we do, whatever response we get for that, we'll post it on our website, because what we're going to do from this is kind of put together a frequently asked questions list. So the questions that we get, we're going to put them up there with the responses for people who may not have seen this, or for people who, if we were not able to fully answer your question during the presentation. Where are the Google Classroom codes? So currently, the teachers are populating the spreadsheet that has updated codes in them, and then that spreadsheet will be put on the website. While at the same time, teachers are reaching out to students by, once they populate their Google Classrooms, they're sending the codes out to the students' email addresses. So students should check their NHPS email, and that will give them a link to enter their teachers' classes. The question of how do I, as a parent, log into my child's PowerSchool on my own phone? I got to make sure she's in check. I get you, girl. So there is parent login also. So I would say reach out to the school counselor and ask them about that. To get access to ID and passwords for PowerSchool, you have to reach out to the school counselors. The school counselors have all of that information, and that their contact information would be on the school website under the school counselors tab. And I think, hold on.
I've been sending answers to people as I go.
Fantastic. Does the class of 2024 have their own Google Classroom as in all freshmen? If I'm not mistaken, there is, they're creating, or if it hasn't been created already, a Google Classroom for each of the classes for freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, so that if there's information that's specifically necessary just for you guys, it would be put out through that classroom.
Should there be a parent? There doesn't have to be a parent present for the laptop distribution, but I mean, if you can be, that's great.
Yeah, that's the one we answered just a minute ago.
Okay.
Because someone had asked before, can a parent come without a student? If the parent comes without a student, you need to have the student ID number, correct, in order to get a laptop.
Yep.
If the student comes without a parent, it's fine as long as they have their student ID number.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't know if this is a repeat question, but only computers are being given tomorrow, not textbooks. We are making good time because we're supposed to be done at 6, and I think we're at 5:55. And it looks like we are at the end of our questions.
So yeah, I think we're right. I think you're right. So we just want to thank everybody for taking time out of your busy, hectic schedules to join us here this evening to learn about what remote education is going to look like here at Career High School. We're certainly happy and welcome all the questions and all the engagement you have with your students. And as we've mentioned throughout our presentation this evening, it's really, really important that we stand united and do this together for the betterment of your children's success. Please do remember communication is key, and we're going to be utilizing a variety of ways for that communication to happen via our school website at careerhighschool.org, the use of parent links. We have our email accounts, addresses, and things like that, calling into the school. So we will do this together and know that you're in good hands, and we really look forward to working with all of you and making this an outstanding year. So thank you for your time, and we can't wait to get started, and really want to continue to build and foster great relationships with you and your families, and certainly with the students here. Monica, Steve, you have anything you'd like to say?
Yep, there's 3 questions that popped up. I just want to answer really quickly. One is a student says, where can I change my schedule again before we end? So on the website, go to where the tab that says school counselors. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're going to post the link up there to the school change form. So again, under school counselors, there'll be a link for the school change form. You fill that out and send it in. Who can we contact if we have further questions? Miss Beaton, who's the parent liaison, she is, her sole role really is to be kind of the go-between between parents and the school. So if you have any questions, then it's very important you can reach out to her. And in the same token, it's important that we have your contact information in case we have some information that we want to disseminate to you through her. So as much as possible, we need people to update emergency forms, update addresses, email addresses, phone numbers, all of those things as much as possible, especially with Ms. Beaton, because she is the best person to contact and to liaise between the parents and the school. Who can we contact? So she's the person to contact for further questions. In addition to that, we have been discussing, is there a way that we can put a link of some sort on the website where you can just kind of type in questions and someone will monitor that and be able to respond to those questions? So we're looking into how to get that done. And so I would say look for that, hopefully coming at some time.
Chromebooks can also be dropped off tomorrow as well. from 9 to 2, again, tomorrow from 9 to 2 at the back of the auditorium. So you're going to utilize that parking lot off of Orchard and Legion Ave, that parking lot right there. And another question I see is, how are you handling contact filtering on your devices? I know there's specific software and things of that nature that is being installed on computers. That's more kind of a tech question that I don't have the exact in and outs about to answer that more accurately, but I know that there are standard software that is installed on all like Chromebooks and electronic devices.
And Mr. True, there was a question about fall sports also.
Oh, yeah, and so fall sports, as we all know, it's a very fluid situation. We're adhering to CIAC guidelines. We know that in New Haven, the city health department has paused all or has not allowed any type of fall sports as far as competition and things of that nature. I do believe that they're still practicing and things of that nature. But for further explanation or questions, you can certainly reach out to the athletic offices through central office. But as we know, we adhere to CIAC, and it's a very fluid situation. But for the latest information, most accurate information, you can contact central office, the athletic department, for the most updated info on that.
You know, and there's another question there about we have the class codes. So we have a code for freshmen, for sophomores, for juniors, and for seniors for Google Classroom, and we can put information around that. And the question was whether the 2024 had one. So I'll look at the bottom of that page. That's going to be my class anyway. So I'll definitely get on that, see if it's open, and if it works, I'm going to put a message out to everybody, get them going. But if it's not there, it will be there tomorrow.
All right. So thank you very much for your questions. Thank you for your attention. I hope we've answered all of your questions. And again, the website is your friend. Look at the website as much as possible. And on the website, there's a little F tab for Facebook. So information comes out on the Facebook page. It looks like there's Instagram there, there's YouTube page. So information will come out in a variety of ways. So we will try as best as we can to make sure you stay informed. But again, please, please, please contact and get in touch with Ms. Beaton. You getting in touch with Ms. Beaton does not mean that you've decided to be on the PTSO. It simply means that you're giving her your information so that she can maintain communication with you and make sure you have as much information as possible. So Ms. Beaton is a parent's best friend.
Thanks, Monica. Steve, you have any closing remarks?
I'm getting a couple more questions here, and again, look at the website. You'll see a lot of things that'll give you the answers to these few questions. I'm typing in the last couple of answers to a couple of questions that came out to me. But hey, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for giving us a shot at taking care of and growing your children. I have 4 at home, and it's trying time right now to see it happen. In my own home, and I could just imagine what is happening in other people's homes. Don't think that your question is different or you're burdening on us in any way. Look, if you're having trouble with it, probably others are too. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'll do the very best to answer the question, and if we can't, we'll find the answer for you and get back to you. And we can get through this, but we can do this because we're going to be communicating with each other. So let's keep everything fresh. Use the website. And if you're seeing something that's off, please let us know. That's what we want to. We don't mind it. We're a team on this. And thank you for your night.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Have a great evening.
Have a great evening. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.